Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Just absolutely fabulous experts the world over with all sorts of backgrounds, authors, professors, doctors, psychiatrists, Delta Force operator, a White House doctor, physician to the president for 1994 to like 2001. So she was a rear admiral, now retired. I'm not kidding when I say all walks of life. Today, Sherianna Boyle from Massachusetts, 11 books under her belt. Much more than that. I'm about to get to it, but her latest book, you can see it on the wall behind her, Just Ask Spirit, Simon and Schuster. She's hardcore, but not. She's super nice. Mind, body, spirit, emotional, spirituality, yoga, you name it, she's doing it. And she's a really good teacher. She's super soft and gentle, though, when she's not yelling at you. Just kidding. Carrie Anna, welcome to the show. We've interacted a bunch. You've had me as a guest on your show. I'm
I
super
have.
thankful for that. So publicly, thank you. Can you start us off with where are you at now in this career trajectory? What's sort of your mantra going forward? Where are you?
Hmm. Where am I in terms of, well, my 11th book is out at this, no, actually cut in pre-order. I'm thinking about when this is coming out on your show. My 11th book is available now to order. And where am I? Well, I'm doing some public speaking, a lot of teaching, a lot of collaborating, creative kind of work, and working with spirit.
Are you having more fun now than ever before? Was that 5 years ago? And ever since it's been, the dregs. Where are you on the joy factor on all this?
I think I'm realizing, for so long you are working towards something. And then it was really quite recently I was like, holy crap, I'm there. Like I'm where I wanted to be all along. Why do I still feel like I'm working towards it? Like this is now time to just sit back and enjoy the ride. You made it. I mean, you have to nurture it and you have to take care of what you work for. You can't just do nothing. But that's where I'm at, is enjoying my family, enjoying balance, also the creative aspect, and helping people, but without the grind that I used to have, for sure.
Now, coincidentally, even though your book is named Just Ask Spirit, that's the name of your show, top 5% worldwide, Just Ask Spirit. You've seen a lot. You've been doing this a while. Again, the 11 books, you've been teaching yoga, you've been teaching, spirituality related classes. Emotional detox is a big thing for you, helping others kind of get rid of the baggage to get clear, clean slate and get moving forward in life. What have you noticed lately as the kind of biggest trend you're seeing out there? Is it people are even more willing to like slow their roll a little bit? They know they need to just pump the brakes. What are you seeing?
I think that I'm seeing people more interested in getting to know spirit. I'm sure you see it too as well, Michael, that people are more open and wanting to explore that, especially the archangels, for sure, and just getting to know how to use their own gifts, their own intuition, how to ask their own questions, receive their own guidance. I think for me, I mean, I my best gauge is I have a membership, so my members kind of give me a nice pulse of where they're at, and I meet them every week. So that's really nice for me because I can watch their progress, but I can also see along the way, what how people regress and what they need, what's needed to move forward. So in terms of, I mean, there's is a tremendous amount of fear there. People are worried about their futures and how how things will affect them in terms of the way things are changing in the world, and will they be able to have the kind of life that they want. So I do see a lot of that, and I work a lot of that. And we what we do is work on the spirit level to help them alleviate that anxiety and that fear, and to overcome and to transcend some of this. So I see people more open to that avenue than ever, realizing, I really can't control. I mean, there's so much out of control now. And so open and willing to learn new ways, and to and to love. I have couples that sometimes will come to me because, my book, Emotional Detox, is all about my marriage that almost fell apart. And so I do attract a fair amount of people who are in that same position and looking for some help. Um, and so I've seen couples more open to learning these kinds of tools and techniques as well, which is pretty cool.
I love it. Talk to us just a little bit about the Archangels. Is that your favorite part of your practice? And I'm just going to show your book cover that we referred to right there. That's one of your books.
Yeah, that's that. So Emotional Detox is a series of 3 books. That's the core one. I call that the sort of birth the other two. And that'll give the foundation for what that is. That is actually, I didn't talk about it in that book because I didn't realize it at the time. But that book I wrote, well, that was published in 218, but mind you, I'm writing it in 216.
Mm,
So in 216, I called out for help from spirit.
mm,
And I actually heard a really strong voice. And it was I've heard things before. Everyone, sometimes you hear guidance from, you're like, was that spirit? I'm not sure. But for me, it was unmistakably a voice. And it was so powerful that I just dropped everything and said, okay, what was that? And tell me more.
mm,
And so I would meditate, and that's when the cleanse, are the steps for processing your emotions that I created, cleanse was downloaded from spirit. And spirit would literally feed me slowly the steps, step by step. And prior to hearing that voice, I had done quite a bit of research on emotions. So it was almost like spirit knew I was ready to hear it. I think, had I not done all of that research and had that knowledge behind me, I'm not sure, but it was just this perfect timing. So at that point, I I always would ask spirit, even with every book that I write, I'm asking spirit the questions and then channeling the answers. And sometimes I'm getting information from a piece of research, but I probably ask spirit to help me find the research. It's just it's a part of me. And so it's a daily practice for me. And that's what Just Ask Spirit's all about. It's about, yeah, you can call on spirit during times of where you're really need help, like I cried out for help. But also it can just be a regular way of life where you're always checking in and asking and getting that higher guidance. And the higher guidance is usually so wise, it's beyond what your mind can even come up with, because your mind has so many memories and triggers and conditioning. And I love working with spirit because it's often very simple and it's in a few words. It's not this long drawn out thing. And it just nails it. It's like nuggets. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. I got it. And so that's a lot of what happens. So in terms of the Archangels, I definitely have a very strong affection for working with the Archangels. But with my book, Energy and Action, so that's the last one I wrote. That's on the spiritual laws of the universe. And in that book, I talk about the rays of light and the vibration and how to work with the rays of light. And once you start working in light, you're naturally going to connect to guides because they're in the light. They're in this pure source light. So writing that book was another, so here I am writing Emotional Detox. I'm writing the series and channeling how to help people process their emotions. And then I wrote Energy in Action because I was guided. I sat down in meditation to do my morning cleanse, which is my emotional detox practice. And all of a sudden I hear, okay, now it's time to put the light in. And I'm like, what? I just wrote 3 books and now you're telling me to put the light in, but it's like, that's just the way it goes. Spirit's like, yes, now you got to show them how the light works. And this is what Spirit told me, that the light goes along with the spiritual laws. Now, I'd never learned that before. Have you ever learned that before, Michael? People teach about the laws, but they don't connect them to the light. So I wrote a whole book on the spiritual laws, energy and action, and how they connect to the rays of light. So I feel like I've sort of been spoon fed by Spirit for all of these books.
Mm. Hey, well, I think of Eat, Pray, Love. Remember the movie with Julia Roberts? She's in the bathroom. She's agonizing over her marriage. She's in tears up against the wall, and she's, basically crying out to God over and over again, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And a
Yeah,
voice
that was
says,
me. That
yeah,
was
a
me.
voice says, go to bed, Elizabeth, or go to bed, Liz. And
Yes.
she thinks, I think in the book it gets attributed to God, but I believe if you listen to Angels, it was her guardian angel, and she just went to bed. So, take us through one of those moments. Maybe it was the voice that you heard initially. Take us the raw details. Where were you? Kitchen floor, bathroom, like Julia Roberts? Give us a blow by blow of just one of those emotional spots, but then something happened.
Well, I was in therapy when it happened.
Oh,
So we're talking, this one was back in 2016. I've had other times in my life where I've heard a voice like that, and I've been guided, and some of them have been, really led to strange things, like when I was guided, when I heard a voice that said check on somebody, and then my gut said no, no, don't bother them, and then they said no, check on them, and then I checked on them and they were dead. I was like, yeah, it was like an old lady that lived in my apartment building. And I kept hearing a voice, check on her. And I said to my roommates, we should check on her. And they said, she's fine. No, don't. I said, no, we should check on her. So I knocked on the door and she didn't answer. So I said to my roommates, and it was the voice that told me, check on her. So I called the police, and then they bashed the door down, and there she was. She was dead. So I felt a little bad because I had heard the voice maybe a couple days earlier and I did not check.
mm,
Um, but she was probably in her 90s. This was an elderly woman, but it just goes to show you that voice, I mean, it just, so in terms of the 2016, I was in therapy, and the therapist was asking a question, and she got beeped. She had a beeper because she had diabetes and she had to check things. Um, so she walked away for a minute, and that's when the voice came in when she walked away. And I heard, I, I heard, what if you don't answer the question? And I was like, what? Like, what if you don't answer the question? It was literally put a question to me. It was so loud. But then I got a feeling, and the feeling, I can't even describe the feeling. So we end the session. I'm walking down the driveway, and I literally remember saying it out loud. That's the last time I'm going to therapy.
mm,
It was a feeling of, this is done now.
mm,
This is complete. You're at the end of the road.
mm,
And normally, like, you don't do that. Normally you have a little closure and you give a little warning. You know what I mean? And I didn't. It was like done, complete.
mm,
And that was Spirit for sure. Spirit let me know, okay, enough's enough. Now it's time. So that's when I went home, and I have a chair that I still sit in, and I go through I just sat down and I just said, okay, just talk to me. Tell me more.
mm,
And I would listen, and it would come through. I didn't even think I'm talking to Spirit. I'm channeling. I didn't think any of that. There was no like, okay, I'm creating my next book. And it was truly just, okay, I'm here. I'm open. I'm available. here. And so, and then I would practice, and then I would ask questions, and then I would practice some more. But I think the best part is I never gave myself a deadline. So Emotional Detox did not have a deadline. And I think that's part of the reason why it came out so great, is the publisher took the deadline off of it, which is unusual. Usually you have these strict contracts and you're obligated to make deadline or else you don't get paid your, whatever portion you get paid at that point. And they had taken it off because I wasn't going to write it. I said, I can't do this. I can't. And I'm not in any shape. But at that point, again, I had done the research and I had pitched the research and I had written a proposal on the research. So they knew they knew I had it in me. And they said, you're going to do this, but just let go of the deadlines. It was the nicest thing they could have ever done for me. And they said, just when you're ready, you're going to do this. And I felt so touched by that. It felt so compassionate to me that they would do that. And so I had ample time to channel and to develop it.
All right, lightning round, like we're on a game show. Just pick one or the other or give us a yes. I'll give you 4 items. Love is the fabric of the universe. Do angels exist? Do you like being a show host or a guest more? And would you choose a walk in nature versus a silent retreat? Let us know. All 4 of those. Is love the fabric of the universe?
Yes, light and love.
Do angels exist?
Yes.
But how do you know? Because somebody out there asked that when they watched you just now.
I can feel it. And then when I work with people, they can feel it. And they can describe it. I can describe it. And you can not just feel it and describe it, but you can see the changes. You can see the level of awareness going up. For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's just been so many beautiful things that have happened to me. And I know we're the work of my spiritual team, of the Archangels. I'm very, very blessed, with all the things that have happened to me. And I think sometimes things are moving through, even though it looks horrible at the time and feels horrible. Very often there is something behind it all. There is a divine purpose, that there's a learning, there's a lesson, there's growth, or you're getting ready for your next thing. So yeah. What was the next one?
Show host or being a guest? Which is more fun for you?
I really love being a host.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why?
Oh, so Just Ask Spirit, my podcast is why do I love being a host? I just love it. I don't know why I love it, Michael. I do. I enjoy it. I enjoy promoting other people, especially if I admire their work. I mean, of course, to everything, there's parts of your job you don't enjoy, but I really enjoy creating a space where people can get quality information and they can receive and yeah. And what was the other thing? Beach or?
Yeah, walk on the beach or a walk in nature versus a silent retreat. Which one would you choose?
I've never been on a silent retreat. I've always been drawn to it. Have you been on one? I know. I can't see you on a silent
There's some logic to that. I think there's a lot of angels laughing at that concept.
I don't know if I could either. I mean, maybe we do talk shows, so I've always been drawn to it. Definitely nature over the beach, even though I live on Cape Cod.
I just saw a ruby metallic flash right like below your screen that I'm looking at on the laptop. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I learned sign language and someone else snuck in knowing sign language, you could, that'd be pretty cool for a silent retreat. Yeah. Okay. One more sneaky question. You can hang out with Eckhart Tolle for a week in Sardinia or Corsica. Or who's the other spiritual figure you'd absolutely like? Poor Eckhart. You're booting him back to Canada. Who are you choosing for Corsica for 1 week? You get to hang out, beach, dinners, conversation.
I think Carolyn Mize.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she'd be pretty cool to talk to.
What do you love most about her?
She's smart,
Hmm.
very smart. And the science, the way she taught, studied neuropsychology. I mean, she does it all. I mean, but I think her intelligence, and I, I would want to ask her, she used to do readings. Remember that, Michael? And then she stopped doing readings for people. She kind of set a boundary there. I just like to learn more about her life.
She's no nonsense. Speaking of which, where do you want to go on a topic? What are you dying to talk about? What popped into your head yesterday or the day before, knowing this was coming up? What's an avenue you want to take us down?
Well, in terms of the book, in terms of just life,
Life, spirituality, just daily
yeah,
practices. Where are we today as a society? Is there a way we can like turn away from the TV, politics, this country's doing that, censorship, all the big concerns going on today to
yeah.
just be more happy for no particular reason?
Mm. Well, that's why I mean my approach, there's all different ways that we connect with spirit. Is my motto is to feel first and then ask. And so what that means is that you would take time to clear some of that reactivity that you're talking about. That, we sometimes very often will turn to spirit or God, or and we'll say, "Oh, please help with the situation. The world is just awful and we got to pray and we got to." And that's all well and good, but I encourage people to slow down and go through the cleanse, which I've written about in Just Ask Spirit. But I wrote about the cleanse and how you can do it with the archangels, how you can do it with other kind of spiritual energy, how you can clear your own energy as you do that, process your emotions, take 10-15 minutes at least once a week there for a longer practice. I mean, maybe day to day you might just ask spirit out loud, talk out loud, connect or meditate or something. But I think it's nice to have a solid practice where you would process your emotions, get into a certain state of mind because your vibration goes up with emotional processing. And as the energy goes up, you get into these higher, vibrations of love and courage. And that's an ideal state to communicate. It's like anyone, when we communicate, it's very state dependent how that communication is going to go. If we approach someone and we're like, "Oh, I got to talk to them about this," and we're all tense and tight, and then we finally ask them, and then it's not well received, and they get reactive, or they take it personally or whatever, and you're like, "See, I can't talk to you about anything. I can't." Right? See, I should just keep my mouth shut and not. I mean, that can also happen with spirit. We can approach these things. So I say feel first, take some time, and then ask spirit. And then that's what the book teaches people how to do. And it just is I think you save a lot of energy and you save a lot of time doing it that way, because you could do it a lot of guessing. Oh, maybe this will work. Oh, maybe that'll work. Oh, maybe I'll try this, or maybe I'll try that. And I find just doing it in this way, it just, because what happens as you're processing your emotions is a lot of that reactivity gets dissolved, your energy goes up,
Mm,
and your questions change.
mm,
So the question I started with generally gets evolves, changes and changes. And now I'm getting closer to the core question. And I'm also going to get closer to the core answer to my question of what's really going on there, because it's usually not what you see on the surface.
mm. Okay, jumping sideways a little bit, seeing auras, is it accidental? It's only once every 10 years, it's every other month, or is it, I can't shut it off, make it go away? I'm even seeing people at the grocery store with light all over them. Where are you on the whole seeing light curve thing?
Well, the rays of light that I work with and wrote about, that is what led to Just Ask Spirit, because I'm constantly working in the light. Now, the rays of light is, those are infinite. They're not color. Color has measurements. Rays are infinite from source energy, and they reflect in the aura and they reflect in the chakra system and things like that. So I do see it. I see it through my mind's eye. I can, if I once I tune in, I can see what's going on with someone. I also get information about what spiritual laws to work with, what that person might be out of alignment with. I get information on their chakras, where they might be blocked. I will often ask spirit how to unblock it, because I don't always assume I know that. I don't always, sometimes there's just something different per person in terms of walking around seeing auras. I mean, it depends. It depends. I mean, sometimes, yes. I remember I teach psychology. I'm an adjunct psychology professor. And one of my students was talking. This happened twice. And I'm looking at her and she's talking about something that she's upset about. And I'm looking at her and I said, all I see is your aura is so full. And literally I'm her professor. Like, I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, I shouldn't be saying this right now, but it was just her. It was her and I think maybe two other students. I'm like, I just see your aura. You have, and I'm describing it, the light that's in the aura. And she's like, oh, you just made my day. Really? And I'm like, yes. Then I thought, okay, that's so weird that happened. A few weeks later, she's talking. I see the whole thing again. White light, beautiful energy in her aura. And she's talking, and I'm just going, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Like, if she only could see this. And I said it, I told her again, I'm like, I'm seeing it again. It's back. And we're in the middle of a room. There's no frills in these college classrooms. There's not a lot of windows. And so, yeah, it happens.
Mm. Hey, so for guests, I'll out myself a little. I've been seeing, would this will be a public service announcement, 50 shows for Angels, Positivity, and Love in 2023. But mid-year 2024, June, we went to 3 shows a week. So that's 112 additional shows for 2024. But we're already booked into March. I think 190, but it'll be 200 shows shortly, which is really cool. Uh, but I'm seeing auras on guests. It wasn't something I would have been like the guy saying, well, yeah, I've seen light once in a while, like on people or just in moments. And then angel light is a different thing when an angel shows up. But seeing auras on folks, I'm seeing it on like every other guest now. So I've been seeing your white perimeter of light around you, and it's been awesome. And so I've been zoning out the whole time, but listening.
Oh,
And I love it. But I'm going to encourage the guest, the audience right now to tune out. If you could give a couple bits of advice to see your aura, again, respecting your boundaries, only the highest intent in every direction right now. But I always suggest look at the person's nose, then go to their forehead and just check out. And you can listen to your flow as you're talking and see the band of white light, for me at least, is what I'm seeing on you. And the more you let go, the more it grows. That's going to lead us, by the way. Do you have any advice besides breathe for the folks at home?
In terms of seeing auras,
and yours right
I
now.
yeah, I think for kind of looking over their shoulder a little bit. You're not looking direct at them. You're taking in a fuller scope and noticing the energy around their head. Sometimes going against a white wall, they say you can help see the colors that might pop in. And I think working with the rays of light can really help with that, because the rays of light increase your vibration and your psychic abilities. So yeah, and they come and go, they change.
Yeah. Before
Yeah.
I read you some quotes from some famous authors or angels and just get a reaction of any sort, you can take us in any direction or say that's really pretty. I'm gonna just tell you a dad joke because if you're laughing, that'll give the audience a chance to see your aura even expand a little bit more, I suspect. But here's a really whatever it is dad joke. What's the only flower found on the human face? Tulips. Exactly. Okay, here comes four random quotes, but I am going to do Winnie the Pooh first. He has a couple of them. Piglet asked Winnie the Pooh, "How do you spell love?" And Winnie the Pooh said, "You don't spell it, you feel it." But also, Winnie the Pooh said this: Some people talk to animals, not many listen, though. That's the problem. And I would add, that's the opportunity for us all. Let me go to just a couple more quotes, and then if I have to repeat them, I will. Freedom happens when walls are removed. Whoa, that one's like right up your alley. Okay. Awareness is empowering. Now, what's a reaction to any of those? Do you like Winnie the Pooh? Give us something.
I like Winnie the Pooh. 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 Pooh.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, I like that.
What's your favorite mantra or advice for someone daily just to keep this all? I mean, how simple is it? How simple is everything?
Mm. Well, the cleanse has mantras incorporated in it. I wrote a book on mantras, so I'm a big fan of using mantras as a daily practice. I think the hum is the mantra that is a favorite of mine. Hum is the mantra of enlightenment. It's just a simple hum, kind of like the that brings that oneness. But for some reason, hum has sort of been my go-to quite often. The hum, I use it in so many ways. Sometimes I hum to release or transform something. Sometimes I hum to activate. Sometimes I hum to honor. Sometimes I hum to ground and center. Sometimes I hum to create community and sacred space. And so that vibration, that the hum
Mm,
is I think my favorite mantra, and it also has so many numerous benefits.
mm,
The power of humming and what that does to the mind, the way it increases nitric oxide, increases circulation, decreases your um, blood blood pressure, increases flow, decreases inflammation. I mean, it's just such a beautiful way to do self care on top of it all, and also opening up your higher spiritual center. So definitely the hum, and that was channeled. I had no
mm.
idea. Yeah, I mean the hum. I had no idea was. I asked Spirit when I was writing the cleanse. I said, I know that there's going to be a mantra in the cleanse. I know there will be because I wrote a book on mantras. And which one is it, Spirit? And that's when I heard the hum. And I had no idea. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I had no idea how powerful the hum was until I wrote the next emotional detox book, because I ended up coming across all this research. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I selected that one,
Mm.
because so really is, I mean, it can shatter cancer cells. It's incredibly powerful. There's studies out of in medical journals on that. So
Your book covers. Who designed them for you? They're super colorful, super
I
fun,
know, isn't that
super
beautiful?
amazing. Is it one person, a team, you yourself late at night?
Well, I there were some covers that came my way that I wasn't crazy about, but I will tell you, and that was from my publisher. but that was completely, I took full responsibility because I'm the one who directed those covers. I had given some input and had some, and then came back and I was like, oh, that does not work. That does not work. And I completely own that, you know. And so we got on a call thanks to them. The publisher said, you know what, let's talk about it on a call. Smartest decision they ever made, because when I got on the call, I got to really talk to the designer about what this book is all about and what the intentions are behind this and what is happening. And just having that conversation, she said, I think I have some ideas, and came back
Mm.
with that. And I said, holy moly, you nailed it. She's like, really? I'm like, you nailed it. It's unbelievable what you pulled together. So I think it was a feeling. I think there was a connection. I think it's it's all relationships. When you take time, it's hard to. I've created covers. When my first book I self-published, and you could never talk to the designer.
Mm.
They wouldn't let you. They would only let you do so many revisions, and it's unfortunate because it hurts everybody. Nothing really sells that way. Um, so I really appreciated the time this team, their wherewithal to say, you know what, let's have a conversation rather than keep trying at things and see if we can make her happy. But instead, so that worked out great. Her name's Larissa. I don't know her last name, but I'm very grateful for her. I thought she did a beautiful job.
So before we get to any like potential book tour, mini events here and there,
Mm,
bookstores, or what you might be doing like in the fall or so on in 2025, I just wanted to bring up Deepak Chopra had a book called Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. Do you remember that one?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at it when I was writing Just as Spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you talk to us just about spiritual laws and give us a few samples, whether it's from his book, your book,
Mm.
or from some other source, and just kind of lay out a little bit of the landscape, if you could, some basic concepts.
Yeah. I mean, again, these are written in energy and action. And so there's I write about 13 laws in that book. One is the spiritual law of perpetual transmuted energy. And basically, it's a law that reminds us that we're not powerless. We have the ability to transform energy. And so we can take something that's low vibrational, like an emotion of guilt, and we have the ability to transform that into higher vibrations of love or peace or however. And so that's one of the ways to work with that law, is just a reminder that law, perpetual transmuted energy. Then we also have the law of oneness. The divine spiritual law of oneness reminds us that we're not separate. And when we treat ourselves as separate from light, you're separate from, I'm separate from, or separate from each other, then we suffer and we create illusion. We become co-creators of fear. And so the closer we come together, the unity, our natural oneness state, the better we're going to feel. And that's the way I feel about emotions and emotional detox and just as spirit. So it's, the emotions, we're not supposed to get away from them. We're not supposed to get rid of them. We're supposed to go toward them. And when we go toward our emotions and we join them, and then we transmute them, we work with them, then that raises energy, and then it's like a avenue for connecting to spirit. So then we have the spiritual law of vibration, which reminds us everything moves, nothing rests. And therefore, when we say things like we're stuck, we're really not stuck. I mean, that's an illusion. Things are happening just because you can't see it on a physical level. Maybe something doesn't appear to be different. We're moment to moment, energy is moving. And and we can work with that by learning to work with our emotions and not being afraid. But if we're always focused on everybody else's emotions, how someone else is acting, how someone else is doing, how someone else is feeling, a lot of people do that. They spend most of the time focusing on other people and very little on their own feelings. And so when we do that, we go out of alignment with these laws. We're supposed to work in unison. They all work together. And so there's that law. There's spiritual law. I have that on my one of my things here. We have the spiritual law of cause and effect. We have the spiritual law, that we all know that there's consequences, there's ripple effects on things. And sometimes we don't let consequences happen. We want to interfere. So I mean, there's law of compensation, there's a law of polarity, and all these laws of giving and receiving, the spiritual law of rhythm, and they all, I believe, teach us about emotions.
Talk to us a little bit about a future book tour. Did you do book tours before for some of your books and stuff like that?
Well, it's kind of already off and starting. I am in the process. This weekend, I have a huge event happening, and it's going to be one of the times that I announce Just Ask Spirit. And we've got a sold out house. We've got a rockin' weekend planned, and then in the I have some retreats planned. I'll be back at Kripalu. You were at Omega, right? I teach at Kripalu. I'll be back there in January 2025, and that will be Just Ask Spirit weekend. And I'm going to be co-teaching that with my friend DJ Mantra. So we do live music at my events, DJ music, but it's pretty fabulous music, because emotions and music just they go hand in hand, right? I just have to have music at my events. So I co-teach with DJ Mantra and Shannon Kaiser. So that's sort of the way that I get out there and let people know what's going on, for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, we've reached that time in the show. I'm going to blow some sage. If people are coming back to the show and they know this, this is that time you not only get to smell sage, it doesn't matter if the year is 2030 or that you're in Germany, New Zealand, Australia watching this. Let sage come through two screens to wherever you are. Think of everything as energy. Sherianna will tell you there's no obstacles, no limits. Like allow, allow, allow. But literally ask angels of the universe to get you out of your head into your heart or into your nose to smell the sage. What will you allow for is the daily rub. Here's some sage smoke. Leave your eyes on it. Catch what you can catch in Massachusetts from good old Texas. I've got a red-tailed hawk feather to help. And one more dad joke for everybody. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. Nobody has to remember who they are. It doesn't matter for the joke. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? He says, "Sure, Bert." Okay. As you're laughing, you've let go. You know you're in your heart. You can't fake a laugh. There's very few laugh fakers across the planet, although I bet we could find one. Okay. Catch the smoke. I'll light it a little more. Are you already getting some sage in Massachusetts? Well,
Yes.
at home, people can ask for flowers or ocean. Why settle for not ho hum? Sage is good. Why settle for linear? Go for flowers, go for ocean. It can't be Cape Cod, Atlantic, Massachusetts water. Go for something exotic, at least the Bahamas, Florida, Rehoboth, California. Let's go crazy. Baja Peninsula, Mexico, Hawaii, Fiji, Bora Bora, not boring. Are you getting any ocean at all as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you say it, it pops.
Well, can we blame angels? I think they're saying it's okay to blame angels. Are we blaming angels for this?
Who's your favorite angel? Do you have?
I mean, I can give like five since I've got like 100+ that I'm interacting with a lot. Joy, Heather is awesome. She makes hearts in her photos. But I've seen her in Stockholm, Maui, New York, Las Vegas. I didn't know about. I got it officially confirmed. It took only like 23 years later. I would not get an answer on that. And then I saw her in, if I said Austin, then I saw her somewhere else, New York. So I'm going to put up some angel photos because you just brought it up, but it was pure timing, coincidence. And I'll even bring up Heather, some archangels for you. We're going to go rapid fire. You can get an answer, get a hug. You can get a prompt on a reminder for us all. You're like, oh, yeah, I even said that in this other book of mine. And let us like lay it on us. So here it goes. Let me just find Heather for us. In a complete panic, if anybody's new to me, I grabbed a Sure Shot camera and started snapping photos of angels, but I also gave it the camera to folks over the years, and then people can just see directly. So it's not a big deal. Clear the decks. Who cares? We've got Sherianna Boyle, author, 11 books, yoga, mind, body, spirit, emotional detox, you name it, she teaches it. She's fun. She smiles a lot. And here's Joy, speaking of which, the emotion Joy. You've met her before. Anybody
Mhm.
can treat her like a fireplace, but instead of fire or embers or hot, just feel sparkle, cool, laughter, tingles in your toes, up and down your back. What are you getting from Joy for us all, Sherianna?
I definitely get like a ooh, I just got some tingling in the back of my head.
I,
Oh
I
wow.
didn't do it. You did it.
Holy moly. I just got like just as I was about to speak, I was like, whoo. Yeah, she gave me something. She's doing something. Usually I get it in my hair a lot. Do you get it in your hair? I see.
I mean, I get,
Itchy. Like
yeah,
a
I
gut.
just get mauled daily like it's wild grizzly. Okay, so here's Charlotte, everybody's favorite school teacher with words meant to help you expand. If it's third grade, Mrs. Wilson, but if you're abroad, third form, Mrs. Johansson, find the nice one, not the one who got you in trouble. People at home, you can breathe extra, hands off your face, sit up straight a little if you need extra help. But remember, just be like angels. Get me out of my head into my heart. Help me get an answer right now. What does Charlotte have as a reminder, either through your field of experience over time, or a reminder that you're like, oh, yeah, that's a great one and you can run with?
Hmm. She's got more of a calming energy for sure.
I'll put up another angel photo. Min, light waves of energy in water, soft spoken professor. You can smell any ocean. It doesn't have to be the last one anybody just caught. Only complex name, but Min's like Minnesota. We'll keep it easy. It's the Lakota Sioux Indian word for water. So just call her Min. You can feel a little bit of ocean.
Yeah.
And is there anything though that like there's a topic or a reminder for us all that you're picking up on? No try Yoda.
Just
I'll do Yoda.
breathing.
There we
Just
go.
breathing. Just a reminder to breathe.
And that was a quote that if I can find it, I might have lost it. Hold on.
Yeah, reminder, just take deep breaths. Slow down, take deep breaths.
Oh, no, I have it. I have the quote right here. I'm looking on the wrong spot. Okay, so here's your quote from Angels. That's exactly about that. Because I had it picked out like 10 minutes ago. A breath is a taking in of one's own placement in the present moment. And it's also an understanding and owning of that moment too. A breath is life. That's angels. We're going to blame angels again for saying that. I thought it was pretty. What was your reaction to that? Do you want me to read it one more time?
No,
Okay.
I love it. I mean, that's what I felt when I felt that photo. I felt that you said what's the message here, and I felt breath. Just breathe.
Well, I'll put up two photos at once, but you can choose. It'll be four archangels or it'll be Heather and or all five. So here's four archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. And then here's Heather. Even her name is almost the word heart rearranged. That's a heart. There's better hearts on my website from her. And then I've snapped a ton of photos over time where I've missed it by like a quarter of
I
a
love
second.
those archangels. I've seen those before for
Yeah.
real.
So, okay, you
Those
can
are
put your
so
hands
cool.
out, you can catch a vibe, you can close your eyes, you can get geometric patterns. There's no one way about this. Everyone at home, it's Burger King, the 1980s, 90s commercials. You got to do it your way, have it your way.
Have it
So,
your way.
yeah, so pickles,
Yeah.
lettuce, but no mayonnaise. We're not in Holland anymore. Let's get something one way or the other, but spin the wheel, Miss Boyle and Mrs. Boyle, and take it where you want to take us.
Meaning what kind of message am I getting here,
Any
or
which way
any
and
which
loose.
way? I mean,
Yep.
I'm drawn to the archangels for sure.
She's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the message is just the presence of the archangels, that it's like they're on it. I think sometimes we feel like we're going about this by ourselves. And I think the message is you are not alone. Like, we are very much here.
Hmm.
We're a force.
They're a constant because I had them defined a little bit. This is going to sound like weird that I'd ask for a definition about archangels, but angels come in all shapes, sizes, and colors and have all sorts of backgrounds. And in the last 6 weeks, they've been laying it on me with some of those way far away backgrounds. But archangels are more like broad,
Mm.
kind of everywhere at once. I don't know how else to describe it. And then there was a point to all that. So angels are everywhere. It's like love. Big Mary said, "Love is everywhere. Love is a constant. Open your eyes to see love." And I'll leave it one other way. Joy, and I'll go back to Joy just for a second for a laugh if I can find
Yeah.
her. Joy's like that too. Joy's a constant. And this is maybe a final thought for you to remind us all on. If joy, love, all the help in the world is a constant, but we're checking out with just a single little thought of resistance about anything. I didn't like my sushi, take it back. Boom, we're out of the flow, we're out of love, we're out of joy, and we're out of luck temporarily because we're stuck. All we have to do is get back to here. Can you give us that final pep talk on how easy it is, or a whole lifetime or decades, to get back to here?
Mm. When you're in reactivity, when you lose your sense of, yeah, I think, remember that we all have sort of this higher self, and you can call on your higher self at any moment. The higher self is the you that is so above all of that. Your abilities, your ability to transcend, your unconditional love. So just call upon your higher self, and you can do that with light. You can visualize light. Some people like to do like the infinity sign, or something, or you can just say, I call upon my higher self. Like, I choose to connect to my higher self now, the highest part of the highest version of myself, and allow that to be present. And I think that's something, when we get disconnected from that, we feel a little lost. And yeah, sometimes we behave in ways that you might not even recognize in yourself. I know people who say, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I wasn't aware how hurtful that was, or what that was doing to you, and it's because they weren't functioning in their higher selves. So yeah.
I love it.
And we
Okay,
yeah.
last bit of marketing, your sort of public service announcement here. You got a lot of books, and you're going to have more in the future. I hate to break it to you. That's
You
to
get a
you.
message.
Yeah, it's like a
Ah,
it's like a marathon. You cross the finish
I
line.
don't know. Every time I write one, I say, okay, I'm going to take a nice long
That's
break.
It's just like the marathon. You cross the line and you're like, I'll never run one of those again. But then you're watching them later, either in person or on TV, and you get the fever again. And then you're an idiot and you go
Oh,
run
I already
them.
have an idea for another one, but I'm
See?
really purposely slowing myself down. I'm like, okay, it's not the time right now.
But which one is it going to be that you're going to send people to go? Is it the very first book? Which book is it? If you can only pick one that should be the starter book they should go out and get right now.
Oh boy, you're making this a tough
Oh,
one.
I've been giving you the hard balls. I heard no, don't hold back. Put the screws on you for this interview.
I can't name like three.
Nope, just one. Which one do they first go and get that'll help propel them, launch them into the other books? You're the author, and you had to have been asked this before.
it's
You're
it's
so
like
on the
picking
spot.
children. Like, which
Yeah,
of your children do you have the favorite of? And you're
you
like,
get
I
a choice.
can't
You can
do.
name your favorite child right now on air, or you can name the book.
Oh boy. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think Emotional Detox
Mhm.
is a great place to start if you're brand new. I think Just a Spirit as well, if you're interested in connecting with spirit and learning how. I mean, Just a Spirit, I look at as a mental health book as much as a spiritual book, because again, I'm going to teach you how to process your emotions. I'm also going to show you the science, the connection between spirit and your emotions, how they're alike in terms of the anatomy. So if that appeals to you, go for it. If you're just like someone who really just wants to know what emotional detox is, then start with the white book that you put up, and then the spiritual laws are in energy and action. See, I just gave you three.
I know you snuck it in there. And speaking of this type of forced march, you can watch her grill amazing guests on her Just Ask Spirit show. Just ask her. She's done a great job with it. It's super successful. You'll easily find it. I'll make sure all the details are below this video. But right now is that reminder for everybody to just subscribe, like, share, comment. Obviously, enjoy this. You already have. Put down 2 words. She's nice. Anything. Go bigger than that. Go 5 words. Do what you got to do. Hey, this has been Angels, Positivity, and Love. Sherianna Boyle, thank you so much for coming on. You've been an absolute treat, and we're very thankful for having you on.
Thank you, Michael.